Looking at the news that is coming from Bayern Munich, from Bayern chief executive Uli Hoeneß, it seems like Nicolas Jackson actually forced this loan deal by himself. And yes, there is a buy clause, and we are going to see everything here, the buy clause, the things that we may not have heard about or what we don't know about. So first of all, Chelsea, let me clear this. Chelsea were not interested in selling Nicolas Jackson. They only brought Leon Delap to compete with Nicolas Jackson or to strengthen the squad, because right now Chelsea will be playing in the Premier League, they will play in the Champions League, they have FA Cup and the League Cup. So only one striker cannot be playing all of these games. And also, given the fact that Nicolas Jackson has been very wasteful during his time in Chelsea, Chelsea could not afford to rely on him alone. I'm sure that you guys still remember the last 2 seasons that Jackson has been the only striker for Chelsea for the last 2 seasons, and you know his performance, even though I believe that it was Nicolas Jackson that caused Mauricio Pochettino's sack, because if Jackson had been very disciplined and also convert most of the chances that he failed to convert, maybe Chelsea would have finished in the Champions League place and Mauricio Pochettino wouldn't have been sacked. So, in my opinion, I feel that Jackson contributed to that. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Today, let's look at what the Bayern Munich chief executive Uli Hoeneß said about Nicolas Jackson move. So, as we all know, Bayern Munich actually paid a sum of 16.5 million euros for this loan move, but they were not willing to pay this amount. So Nicolas Jackson himself and his agent had to add more money to what Bayern Munich were willing to pay, just to force his way out, even when Chelsea were calling him to come back, but he didn't want to come back. So he had to force the move, also add 3 million euros from his pocket to move to Bayern Munich. According to Bayern Munich chief executive, let me read everything to you. Nicolas Jackson buy obligation clause only active with 40 games start. So what does that explain? For Bayern Munich to sign Nicolas Jackson, Jackson must have 40 game starts, not 40 games to play, 40 game starts. Okay, now let me continue. He further explained the player and his agent contribute for 3 million euros. So we still pay 13.5 million fee on the loan. Okay, so they were not ready to pay more than 13.5 million, and Chelsea were not willing to let the guy go. So they increased the amount so that Bayern Munich would pull out. But Nicolas Jackson refused to return back to Chelsea because he said the plane does not return. So instead of him to return, he decided to pay 3 million euros from his pocket. Okay, now it doesn't end there. Now the chief executive explained there will definitely not be a permanent contract. That only happens if he plays 40 games from the start. It will never happen. So even him, he knows it will never happen. Like Jackson having 40 games start, it will never happen. So let's assume it happened. If that happened, Bayern Munich will need to pay Chelsea 65 million euros by option clause. Even him knows it will never happen. Now, let's look at why it will never happen. First of all, are Bayern Munich willing to pay 65 million euros for Nicolas Jackson? I don't think so. So, would they give him 40 game start? It is very, very possible, but I don't think so too. Now, let's look at why I personally don't think that he can get 40 game start. So we're going to look at Bayern Munich front players. We're going to look at the attackers, and we're going to look at the key players that can play different roles. Okay, that can be a first nine, can play 8, a 10, from 7, 11. We'll look at the forward player. So Bayern Munich currently have Harry Kane, they have Michael Olise, they have Nabri, they have also Jamal Musiala, and not forgetting Luis Diaz that was signed from Liverpool just the past transfer window for 45 million pounds. So, do you expect Bayern Munich to put Harry Kane on the bench and be playing Jackson just to give him 40 game start? Do you expect them to put Nabry on the bench and be playing Nicolas Jackson? Do you expect them to put Luis Diaz that cost 45 million pounds, or Michael Olise that was signed last season for 53 million pounds and he has been playing very well? Do you expect them to put any of these players on the bench for Nicolas Jackson to play? Now, you may want to see they have a lot of games, so he can still get 40 games time. Now, let's look at Bundesliga fixtures. Let's look at how many games they played a season. In Bundesliga, they play a total of 34 games, and already 2 games have been played. They have now 32 games remaining. Okay, so if he play all the remaining games in Bundesliga, Nicolas Jackson will not have that 40 games. Now, looking at Champions League, in group stage, we have at least 8 games. So if we add the 8 games from Champions League group stage to that, it will give you 40 games in total. Will he start all of these games? It's not possible. Okay, maybe it's possible. Now, looking further, if Bayern Munich are able to make it to the round of 16, and also from round of 16 to the UEFA Champions League final, they will have a total of 9 games between round of 16 and to the final. So if we add all of that together, Bayern will have minimum of 59 games. Before Nicolas Jackson will be given the opportunity to be starting games when they are sure of the German Bundesliga, like, okay, they have won it and they may start giving him games time, right? Or if they have also done well in the UEFA Champions League, that is looking that they are going to finish in the top 8, they may start giving him some game time. Other than that, I don't see Nicolas Jackson starting games among this forward. So, the question once again is, has Nicolas Jackson made any mistakes by forcing his loan move from Chelsea to Bayern Munich? Between these attackers and the ones at Chelsea, which one is easy, or which one would have been more easier for Jackson to stay and compete? Now, if I were to advise, I would have preferred Nicolas Jackson forcing a permanent move, and adding money to it will make sense. Or if he has decided to move to clubs like Arsenal, clubs like Manchester United, or even Newcastle United, then maybe he may have the opportunity to have all of these 40 games time, or maybe this clause wouldn't have been there, because if he had gone to Arsenal, probably you have more playing time. If Madueke can be having playing time, why not Jackson? And Newcastle United just lost a striker, so he could have also be given the opportunity to play. And Manchester United, in the other hand, they doesn't have a recognized striker, so he could also fit in. But in Bayern Munich, I personally believe that Nicolas Jackson have made a very big mistake by doing this, because at the end of this loan, he's going to return back to Chelsea. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you agree that Jackson has made a mistake by forcing this move to Bayern Munich,